think the housing sector does great work that lots of people don't recognise or understand. I think people don't understand the complexity of what it involves. They think in terms of putting roofs over people's heads, when often housing associations are doing a lot more than that. They're intervening across their clients' lives, and I think that's not recognised. But I think we've come to understand also in recent weeks, because of the Grenfell Tower tragedy primarily, that how much what housing providers do matters. It is not a small thing to put a roof over someone's head. To provide someone with a safe, secure home is a life-changing thing. I think it's really important now for the housing sector to be as open as possible to journalists, to be willing to open up its doors and say, look, come and see what we do, come and see the work we do, come and understand the conditions that we're operating under. But also, this is a time of, soul searching, really, for everyone who works in housing. Everyone's thinking about the responsibilities they bear. Everyone's asking themselves, for the best of reasons, is there anything we could have done that would have made a difference, that would have avoided, deaths at Grenfell? And I think it's good to be open about that and say that's what you're doing and not be defensive. Even though, understandably, people don't want to be criticised, and it may be entirely unfair for people to be criticised. We don't know what the causes of the fall were yet. But I think just to be very upfront about the fact that this is an emotional time for everyone who works in housing, and it is making everyone think twice about what the mission is supposed to be and about what more they could do to sort of improve the service they provide, and don't hide that really from people.
Well, I said it at the conference. I love being at CIH conference. It is the one big event each year where everybody from the housing field comes together. So thanks for inviting me. The biggest challenges are getting a deep rethink on housing policy, because we're clearly going backwards on almost every front. Homelessness is rising, home ownership is falling. We've got the lowest level of new affordable house building in this country for 24 years. That needs to be led by the government, but they also need to recognise that housing associations have a bigger part to play, but then so do private developers and councils as well. So I argue that we need a big national New Deal on housing in order to start to fix the housing crisis. Politicians debating this is one thing. The broader, bold views from the sector are most important now. And I think for some time, the housing field has kept its peace, lowered its voice. And I think this is now the time not just to make the case to government for what the housing field thinks it can get, but make the case to government and to the public on what it actually believes and what it believes must happen to deal with the housing problems.
We could have a lead role in developing a new template, a new policy position that could be adopted elsewhere in the country. We're closer to our communities, we know what they want, we know the challenges that they face, and because of that, I think we can bring forward housing policies that are right for Greater Manchester and other parts of the country. Westminster, in the end, has failed. It's given the country a housing crisis, and I think we are better placed to tackle it. I think the opportunity is to develop a shared agenda where we bring the private sector together with the public and not-for-profit sector and with wider community voices to develop new approaches to housing that really do meet local people's needs. That's the opportunity that we've got. The Mayor, in this case me, I use the powers that I've been given by the devolution deal to facilitate development, for instance, being prepared to intervene and use compulsory purchase powers where necessary to make development easier and to make it work. And I'm certainly prepared to do that. So I think we've got an opportunity to develop a new approach, and I think housing policy is in urgent need of this reinvigoration.